low visibility Marine One, Trump could not travel to a particular cemetery by helicopter. And the alternative to take him on the ground would have been 2.5 hours each way in a motorcade, shutting down half of Paris and the environs. So Trump or his staff made the decision to go to an alternative cemetery, but the world's pundits mocked Trump. Let me just show you quickly. Here is the official statement put out by the White House explaining that Trump did not go to a particular cemetery because he couldn't get there in a timely way, and it would be a great, it would discombobulate the metropolitan area of Paris for 5 hours. But look at this. Let me show you some criticism. I'm going to bring in our guest in a second here. Here's John Kerry, the former Secretary of State, mocking Trump's decision. Let me just read it. President Donald Trump, a no-show because of raindrops? Those veterans the president didn't bother to honor fought in the rain, in the mud, in the snow, and many died in the trenches for the cause of freedom. Rain didn't stop them, and it shouldn't have stopped an American president. That from the coward John Kerry. Of course, Trump didn't stop because of the weather. He just changed plans. And here's David Frum chiming in. It's not about the weather. And he later mocked the president, saying Trump didn't want to get his hair wet. Joining us now to talk about Trump, the other world leaders, and the criticisms is our friend Joe Warmington, the scrawler at the Toronto Sun. Great to see you in studio.
It's
here.
Good to see you. I wonder if John Kerry would have gone for a fourth Purple Heart had he...
Yeah, that's right. Look, Donald Trump, you can blame him for a lot of things, Joe. He does a lot of things that make his allies sort of tense up. But you can't say that Donald Trump doesn't care about the vets.
I don't think you can say even the things that you just said. You know, I don't think he says or does anything really wrong that I've seen. He just tells the truth. And the truth is not with, you know, the other side. They're just going on and on about things. And they just don't like a guy that comes at it from a different perspective. But on this one, you know, they really, I mean, it is really low. And I would never, ever do something like that with Prime Minister Trudeau or whatever. When Marine One could not take him to the cemetery, which is 60 kilometers away, American Cemetery, that was the end of the story there. And they said, well, let's have a plan B and all this kind of stuff. Well, plan B, when have you ever seen a president drive 60 kilometers on the road anywhere? Yeah. Let alone through the countryside in France, through all of Paris, where just last week they had a terror attack that they foiled on Macron. You know, don't think they didn't think of also perhaps something on the president. So they really did cherry pick something, and it's actually stuck. I mean, you're the only one that will talk about it. I'm pretty well the only one on Twitter that challenged John Kerry and David Frum, our friend, and it goes on and on and on. But the reality is that wasn't fair.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that Donald Trump, who flew all the way over to France,
to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 6-hour flight or 7-hour flight, whatever it is. The idea that he just couldn't be bothered. He bothered enough to fly all the way over to Europe. The idea that this was some trivial decision by him that he didn't want to get his hair wet. Yeah. I like David Frum too, but he's such a never Trumper. He's gone over the top here, and he should know because he worked not closely with George W. Bush, but he worked in the White House, and John Kerry should know. John Kerry, who wouldn't travel ever anywhere without a whole retinue of security. Those guys politicized what should have been a non-political event.
Right, and I think they took the story to a level where it went to, which was a non-story turned into something. And they actually said, and they both did it, that the guy was a disgrace because he, you know, left and did not care about the troops in the cemetery, the fallen. And I find that way worse than what Trump did, which was he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. And he wanted to go there. In fact, he saved lives, perhaps. You know, he knows about, you know, he has the intel reports about, you know, the threats on him. And don't forget for 1 second that if a threat is on the president, it's on the Secret Service and on the people that work with the president. You know, he's cognizant of that. And also, you know, what Sarah Sanders said, the press secretary, that he made the decision that he did not want to shut Paris down for 5 hours either, because he has to go 2.5 hours out there. The beast doesn't travel at 120 clicks. Right. It goes out in an entourage. Yeah. And then he would do what he needed to do in the cemetery and then drive back. They can't reopen it while he's out there. Yeah. So that would be unfair. So the whole story is a phony another political hit job on the president.